Hidden Fates, Cosmic Eclipse, Vivid Voltage, these are all just some of the sets that everyone is raving about, and they are legitimately amazing sets. But in this video, I reveal one of my favorite, underappreciated sets ever from Pokemon. I'm Kakashi with Kanto Capital. I normally talk about the financial side of the Pokemon card hobby, and this really helps you make the most of your money. But because I do so much research on Pokemon, I do tend to find a lot of cards that are worth collecting that a lot of people just don't really think about. I couldn't imagine coming into the hobby today and just not know what to collect, especially with stores just completely sold out. The good news though is that this hobby has just this insane history of cards and some great cards that you can collect. And you really don't have to throw hands at Walmart just to get it. And today I'll be talking about a set that most casual collectors have never seen before. And this is a set with a lot of artwork that most people haven't seen before. And in my opinion, there's nothing better than having something in your collection that just really makes people instinctively react and they just say, "What is that? I've never seen that card before." I think that finance and Pokemon together is just so important today because there is so much demand in the hobby right now. Cards are just flying off the shelves. It's hard to find stuff. And so it's more important to maximize your dollars and get the best value. And to do that, we're going to jump all the way back to 1998. Yes, that is before the English-based set. And that set is the Japanese Vending series. The Vending series is a little known set that was only released in Japan. One of the favorite things that I love about the Vending series is that you get a ton of unique artwork that was never released outside of that country. It has some great history with artwork that was featured from contests, so people won art contests and the cards were actually printed with their artwork. There's artwork from known illustrators of Pokemon. And these are also the old back Japanese cards versus the modern ones we see today. So there's really just some great history linked to these cards. And with some of these, you will actually recognize the artwork because a few ended up as the Black Star promo cards from the Wizards of the Coast era. One card that many people will recognize is the Bumblebee Pikachu art. But generally, there's just a lot of artwork that you can only find in this set. Some of my personal favorites are the Poliwrath, Snorlax, and Charmander cards. Some other things I really like about this set is, again, its age. It's over 20 years old, so that makes it vintage. It has a unique history, and also I think it has a little bit of sleeper potential. It might not actually ever spike up in value, but I think it has the potential to, and there are other sets from the same timeline that are incredibly expensive right now. Some of the more popular sets were Cardass and Top Sun. Those cards are also from the same era, and those sets have seen huge increases in price. But the Japanese Vending series, the one that we're talking about today, has stayed relatively affordable, especially when you consider how old it is and how few cards are actually available on the market today. The Vending series is also a pretty small set. Series 1 has 36 cards, Series 2 has 36 cards, and Series 3 has just 53 cards. So overall, it's actually just a very small set, and that makes it a little bit easier to collect. One thing you'll notice right away is how the Vending series cards feel. They actually have this very different glossy feel to them. So even though they are actually TCG cards, they feel completely different from your typical Pokemon card. If you didn't know, the Japanese and the English cards, they've always felt a little bit different. There's a little fine differences in the material and how the cards feel. But this Vending series cards, these are actually different than both of those. And you can feel the texture right away, and you can even see the difference in the right lighting. The Vending series cards also really stand out because of their distribution. They did not come in booster packs. Instead, they were originally released on vending sheets. Now, because the set is 20 years old, because it's a much older set, expect that it's going to be a little bit harder to find mint copies. But again, I think that's very reasonable for a set that's over 20 years old, and there's just not many cards out there anymore. Finding cards that's good enough though to enjoy in a binder is definitely doable. It's definitely achievable to find a binder quality copy. But if you're more worried about condition, if you really want some really high condition, high quality cards, then finding the vending sheets in its original condition would be great, or even possibly going the PSA route and finding PSA graded cards is probably the way to go if you want the highest and best condition possible. Now what's really interesting and what really stands out to me is actually the PSA pop report. The population on these cards are actually very low overall, and so I wouldn't necessarily say these cards are rare by any means, but the highest pop card is from Series 3, it's the Uyama's Pikachu card, and it has less than 500 total cards graded, and there's only 270 cards in PSA 10. So for the most expensive card in all three sets, you still have an overall very low population with only 270 cards in PSA 10 on the most expensive card in the set. And if we jump over and look at the rest of the set, the overall PSA population report is, again, relatively pretty small. The majority of the cards in the set have less than 100 cards graded each. For example, the Charmander card has only 82 cards graded overall, 50 of them in a PSA 10. Then this Bulbasaur has only 61 cards total graded ever, 35 in a PSA 10. Now some things to consider with grading and condition is centering is a pretty common issue with this set. You'll definitely have some cards that are off center, and also because of the way they were distributed on those vending sheets, the backs are exposed on the vending sheets. So it's fairly common that you might see scratches or scuffs even on a fresh vending sheet due to storage and again just the way these cards were distributed. But overall, with the set being so small to collect, even the common cards in high grades, they can actually command a pretty decent price. Basically every card in this set is collectible because the set is small enough that people do actually want to chase the entire set. With that in mind, I do think there's enough incentive to grade these cards if you have a card that you believe will get you a PSA 9 or PSA 10. But what you really have is a set with unique artwork that really stands out. It's a 20-year-old vintage set. We have old back Japanese cards offering that extra history, and your average collector will really have no clue what these cards are or where they came from. And if you want even more history, these cards are linked with the famous Masaki promos, a very popular 5-card promo set that a lot of vintage collectors, if they collect Japanese cards, they really love this set. And if you're a higher end collector who really appreciates the vintage art styles, higher grade Masaki promo cards are also a great chase, and they're actually pretty pricey these days. Some people might argue that the vending series is very slept on. I wouldn't necessarily suggest parking money here and hoping prices to skyrocket, but if the prices ever did skyrocket on this set, it definitely wouldn't surprise me. But overall, I just think this is a great set to add to a personal collection, whether you think this really has potential to go up in price or not. What we have again is a 20-year-old set with iconic art and exclusive art, unique distribution, and prints that we will probably never ever see outside of Japan. So I hope you enjoyed this extremely unique set, the vending series, as much as I do. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'm Kakashi with Kanto Capital. Have a spectacular day, and I'll see you in the next video.